Okay, we have a really exciting announcement.
Okay.
Not we, but Jenny Lynn has really done a heart and soul project, and it's work that she's been doing for some time, and I want her to share about it.
Okay. It's a parenting plan course. It's 8 classes. It's all video based, and it walks you through step by step how a parenting plan works and how to create one that works for you in your schedule. It's at parentingplan101.com. It is a labor of love. I've been thinking about it for years, and doing this has really brought it home for me. It's not legal advice, but what it is walking people through what to expect and how these parenting plans work. Because as a single mom, as a mom of 3 kids, as a mom who's been in a high conflict custody case for years, what I know right now is I know fucking parenting plans. Yeah. So parentingplan101.com. Go check it out. First class is free. If you can't afford all the classes and you want to take them, send me an email at support@parentingplan101.com. Prosecutor said, no, we won't even agree to the act unless Lindsay Clancy agrees to go to jail.
I did it. And still being put on trial. The things that I'm hearing are conspiracy theories.
It's becoming just clearer and clearer to me that our journey in family court is going to be long. Someone told me that I had mosquito bite titties. It's kind of funny, but it's also, it stings. More than a mosquito bite would sting. I'm Jenny Lynn.
And I'm Jen.
And we're
in high conflict hell.
And you might be too. If you know, you know. But let's make sure you're in the right place. Jen, are you in the right place?
I'm in the right place because my medications have been on trial.
Literally, your Zoloft-loving ass could be sitting somewhere in court soon too, defending yourself.
There's a song for that.
Right?
I love Zoloft. Yes, I do.
What about you? Are you in the right place?
I'm in the right place today because I can't get enough of this Lindsay Clancy trial.
I am in the right place because I want to go give Lindsay Clancy the biggest hug that a woman could possibly
She
give.
definitely needs a hug. Watching this woman sob in court day in and day out is breaking my fucking heart.
Yep. I'm in the right place because this actually makes me in the wrong place, but I'm like really in awe of this male attorney. Those are 2 things I don't like.
Kevin Reddington, her
Yes.
defense counsel, masterclass of defense work right now that's going on.
Good.
So if you haven't been watching the Lindsay Clancy trial or just even keeping up with what's going on it, you can find everything you need to know on my Instagram, and it's at Parenting Plans with Jen. And if you want the inside scoop of my inner thoughts, you can go to my Substack at Jennifer Marks. I started a Substack, you guys.
So good.
I'm like a cool 20-year-old kid now, not a boring 44-year-old, almost 44-year-old mom.
Like the female Aaron Parnas.
I'm going to have to stop bragging about being a single mom soon and start bragging about my Substack.
You should start now.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Single moms are allowed on Substack.
But it's if you want to support me, because there's some support options there. And I'm posting a lot of in-depth legal analysis. I don't know. Jen was my first subscriber to my Substack because everyone needs a best friend like Jen. And I'm actually going to cry because this has been such a journey for me. And having someone who's just been in my corner has been, it makes me cry. I wish that every woman could have a Jen in their life.
Lindsay Clancy needs a Jen in her life.
Yes.
But you're always like this for me too. So I had to subscribe to her Substack because I was trying to eavesdrop and listen in since we're neighbors and hear through the window when she was recording videos and I just couldn't hear clearly enough. So I had to go subscribe because I had to hear all the things that are going on in the Lindsay Clancy case from Jen because it's all over my feed. There's all kinds of things all over my feed, but a lot of the things are like really sensational headlines and
it is
not attorneys, which is totally okay. I'm not an attorney and I love to talk.
Yeah.
But the things that I'm hearing are conspiracy theories, which some of them hold some weight to me, some of them don't. A lot of talking about things like hair bows, which yes, well, ill-intended and poor choice, still not a legal argument. So getting to understand from your perspective, really this view of women, how women should be treated, how it feels to have your mental health on trial, how it feels to be a woman that isn't heard when you're trying to speak up, but also is not heard when you're saying, I agree with you.
That's the
I
key.
agree with you. We don't have to talk about it. I did it. I did it. I did it. And still being put on trial. So it wouldn't matter if she denied it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't matter if she admitted to it.
Yep.
It does not matter the facts around the case. Someone decided that they needed to walk her around like a circus clown.
Yeah. Okay, so let's play a recap actually of
From
her-
where?
From Reality Life with Kate Casey.
And who's on there?
I was a guest on her podcast.
Yeah.
And so if you want to go listen, she actually had 2 attorneys on, myself and a male criminal attorney. And it's, it's definitely, I would call it a just position of, not perspective, but of tone and of how the case is being talked about is what I will say. So I'm going to play that real quick. This is Kate Casey's Reality Life, and this is the preview to the episode that I'm on.
Back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. On January 24th, 2023, a 911 call came in from a home in Duxbury, Massachusetts. On the line was Patrick Clancy, a father who had just walked into his own basement and found his 3 children, 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan, dead. The person he found outside the house, badly injured from a fall, was his wife, Lindsay. What followed was one of the most devastating and complicated criminal cases this country has seen in years. Lindsay Clancy, a labor and delivery nurse, someone whose entire career was built around bringing babies safely into the world, has admitted to strangling her 3 children. But she has pled not guilty. Her defense isn't that she didn't do it. It's that in the eyes of the law, she shouldn't be held criminally responsible for it. By all accounts, Lindsay Clancy was a devoted mother who, in the months after Callan's birth, spiraled into what her defense describes as postpartum psychosis, compounded, they argue, by a cascade of psychiatric medications and treatment that made things worse and not better. Her family and former coworkers have described her as someone who, as one report put it, lived to be a mother. Her husband, Patrick, has never called her a monster. In a widely read New Yorker piece, he said he wasn't married to a monster. He was married to someone who got sick. He stood by her publicly, even as if he had to relive on the witness stand the 7-minute 911 call from the worst day of his life. Clancy was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder in early 2023. Her attorney, Kevin Reddington, filed notice that he intended to pursue a defense of lack of criminal responsibility, what most of us know as the insanity defense, with an original trial date targeted for the fall of 2025. That date slipped first to avoid the holidays, then again as prosecutors sought Clancy's medical records and even reporters' notes from the New Yorker. The trial finally began this summer with opening statements at the end of July. Jurors have since heard the 911 call itself, testimony from the ER doctor who treated Cora that night, and as of this week, dueling accounts of Clancy's mental state, with the prosecution's own witness testifying about postpartum psychosis. In Massachusetts, unlike many states, the burden isn't on the defense to prove insanity. It's on prosecutors to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Clancy was criminally responsible once her mental state had been put at issue. Legal experts have called this a uniquely difficult needle for prosecutors to thread. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. Less than a month before the Clancy children died, the very same Plymouth County prosecutors convicted another mother, LaTarsha Sanders, of first-degree murder after she raised and lost an insanity defense of her own. That history is sitting in the room with this jury, whether anyone says it out loud or not. This case forces us to ask questions that don't have comfortable answers. What do we owe a mother who was, by every account, failed by the system meant to treat her? Where is the line between mental illness so severe it erases culpability and a tragedy that's still legally a crime? And what happens to the rest of a family, a husband, extended family, an entire community, when the person accused is also unmistakably a victim of something? So to dig into this from 2 different legal lenses, I sat down with 2 attorneys. First, Jennifer Marks is a former family law attorney and legal consultant. And then Mark Eiglarsh is a criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor and law professor, who's going to break down the actual mechanics of this trial, how both the prosecution and the defense are building their strategies, exactly what Massachusetts standard for criminal responsibility requires, and the legal landmines that both sides are navigating as this case moves toward a verdict. Here are my interviews.
Love her.
Yeah, I do too. I've actually listened to her previous to her asking me to be on her podcast. So when she reached out to me about this trial specifically, because I'm posting a lot of content about it, I mean, I jumped all over
Did you
it.
fangirl?
A little bit.
I'm over here a little jealous, little fangirling too.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. It's a good listen.
I fangirled until we sat down and talked. And she was the most relatable person. Like in her podcast is like a style of feeling like you're at the other end of a kitchen table having a discussion.
Yeah.
And it made me feel so comfortable. And so thank you so much, Kate Casey, for having me on and for making me feel like your friend instantaneously. I'm working that angle. We're going to be friends.
A girl's girl. We love a girl's girl.
Yeah, it was great. So with that though, Jen, did you get a chance to listen to the episode that I did with Kate Casey?
I did.
What did you think?
I am just always in awe of your ability to very neutrally bring facts to the things that are going on, because I sit here and I yell at you for being so neutral. But I think that you made a couple of really good points, and one of them being around the medication. Why don't you share that? Like, what are your thoughts around the medication in that plastic bag that the prosecutor is showing and holding up for all to see?
Okay, so the prosecutor's theory of the case is that Lindsay did this all deliberately. She planned this. This was controlled. She was a mom who ran a 5K and who came to birthday parties and who watched her kids while her husband was in New York for the weekend or out brunching with friends. And in the meantime, just really wanted to get out of being a mom. And she's smart, right? She's a nurse. She's a runner. She cares about health and her kids' sleep schedule. And she had a nanny. And then all of a sudden the nanny was taken away and she just didn't want to be a mom anymore. And so she planned this elaborate defense of postpartum psychosis and then killed her 3 kids, slit her own wrist, slit her throat, took a bunch of pills, and jumped out a second-story window, paralyzing herself. That she faked it all just to get out of being a mom.
She did those acts, but that it was all a facade.
The postpartum that she experienced, a postpartum psychosis break, was fabricated. She had reached out to help.
Months and months and months.
Over 50 times she reached out for help. She voluntarily checked herself in not once, but twice to a psychiatric facility. She was prescribed more or less a dozen medications throughout the process. She vocalized to her then husband, Patrick Clancy, that she was having these thoughts of harming her children and harming herself, and she was still left alone with these kids. So the prescriptions specifically, because you and I both know on the other side of being someone who takes Zoloft and Lexapro and openly talks about it. We joke around up here all the time that we have 79 million hours at this point of us joking around how Jen loves Zoloft.
I love Zoloft. Yes, I do.
And I love Lexapro. And it was quickly weaponized in family court. And to say that that's being weaponized now in this criminal trial is the understatement of the century. The prosecution, one of the first things that prosecutor did, and I'll get to her in a minute, was hold up that bag of medication as an example of basically she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do. She wasn't taking it how she was supposed to take it. They were still filled up. They were located in the wrong place. She wasn't doing it right. And what I saw in that bag filled with bottle after bottle was a woman's cries for help over and over and over. And here's the thing. There's this huge commentary around this being the fault of the mental health system, right? And I do agree with that to a certain extent.
Right.
Because she did receive a lot of medical help. And as a professional in the field, even in the court field, you can only do so much. You can only do what the providers in front of you, with the insurance, what you're told to do, what your board tells you to do. And I'm not like blaming the actual practitioners. What I'm blaming is the fact that our system is set up to do this to women.
Right.
And there's a difference there. And it's funny because in my social media, I'm not probably making that very clear So if you're here, thank you for coming to my extended talk because you can only say so much in 2 minutes. You know, I went to post a 3-minute video on Instagram and it told me not to.
Trouble.
Yeah. But it's not necessarily the practitioner's fault. It's the system in place. And as professionals, we should all want the system to be better. And this is my issue with Daddy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Daddy is Jen's ex-husband's lawyer, who is the most aggressive attorney in family court that I have seen in a very long time. And I've seen some real assholes,
He
you
just
guys.
loves to be loud and wrong.
He loves to tell everyone how everything they're doing is wrong. He's not very good at reading rules. And he works for his mommy.
Daddy's a lawyer, working for his mommy.
So that's my little ditty about how he's mom. It's a ditty for daddies. He's special in my world. I think I'm special in his because he loves to talk about me all the
I
time.
think he's missed us.
He's missed me.
Yeah.
Maybe not you, but me.
You're right.
He's obsessed with me.
I wonder if he subscribed to your Substack.
Hey, Daddy, if you could go subscribe to my Substack at Jennifer Marks. I'll put a special song for you over there if you need me to. Go for it. But the weaponization of medication and not even being able to do that right is what you're experiencing, Jen, what Lindsay Clancy is experiencing, and what I've personally experienced in my life as well.
And guess what? None of us are special.
None of us are special.
And that bag to me represents you're damned if you do, you are damned if you don't.
Absolutely.
If you had kept all of the thoughts to yourself, like so many of the women in your comments did, and just luckily, and they say this out loud, that they luckily didn't have that break when they were experiencing postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, or postpartum psychosis, that they felt those feelings. And they had to keep them to themselves. And they feel so bad for Lindsay because they know what that felt like. They knew that they had the ability to do something like that, and it just didn't happen. And so the problem being is that if they had, and those women that are in your comments had sought no help, easy. That's an easy case. She knew all that and she didn't even say anything.
And she didn't even say anything.
So you didn't. So then you have a woman that said everything, dedicated her life as a nurse to caring for people. That's the thing that keeps getting me. The prosecutor is trying to make this woman out to seem like a calculated monster because she knew the system. And I'm like, no. This is a woman that cared for people for her career. This is something that she loved to do. She couldn't wait to get back to it. She was worried about getting back to it. And I am just looking at this thinking the system that she cared for, the system that was built that she entered into to care for and love people, because I've never met a nurse that does not care for and love people. Like
They're
that
caretakers by nature.
And that it failed her.
Well, and I just want to make sure I'm really clear, and I know, Jen, you feel the same way. We are not condemning the fact. We are not celebrating the fact that she killed her kids. That is not what I'm up here talking about or defending in any way, shape, or form. What I think is happening is a public trial of humiliation. And I've said this over and over because procedurally, and bear with me just for a few minutes, because it's actually pretty straightforward. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The defense attorney went to the prosecutor and said, hey, can we split this trial into two? My client agrees that she did these acts, that the only thing that should be on trial is her mental health, and she needs that mental health support. She at least needs the option of getting mental health support through a facility for the rest of her life. And the prosecutor said no. The prosecutor said, no, we won't even agree to the act unless Lindsay Clancy agrees to go to jail. That if she doesn't agree that the only place she belongs in jail, then we're going to make her sit there and walk through the killings of her 3 kids in her own personal attempt at suicide for the next 6 to 8 weeks. She either agrees to go to jail or she sits on trial for all of it. Where the prosecutor could have said, okay, we agree then, she did this. Lindsay Clancy did this.
Let's have taxpayer dollars because we all agree she killed her kids.
And absolutely, there's always a financial stake in things, right? Let's save the humiliation of a mother who is paralyzed and who is clearly suffering. And let's give the public what the public wants, which is a trial, apparently. I still disagree with that, but I can see that perspective at least. And we'll just hold a trial on the mental capacity portion. And they refused. And I think what also should be really, really clear here is that no matter what, in the state of Massachusetts, right, if you plead insanity, or as Massachusetts calls it, not guilty by lack of criminal responsibility, that burden of proof still lies on the prosecutor. So if you're catching wind of any of this trial on social media or anywhere else, I want you to look through it at the lens of not is Lindsay proving she has postpartum psychosis, but is the prosecutor proving that she didn't, that she was sane, that she was 100% sane, that she planned this killing, that she did this of sound mind. That's where the burden lies, beyond a reasonable doubt, on the prosecutor. It's not Lindsay's job here to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she had postpartum psychosis.
Yep.
Not her job. So I think that's the other thing that's really getting convoluted online are those two things, which is one, that she agrees and she asked the prosecutor, can we just agree to the acts? They said no. They insisted on this trial in this way. And two, that it's not her job to prove then that she had postpartum psychosis. It's the job of the prosecutor to prove beyond a reasonable doubt she was sane. And the option here, if she is found not guilty by lack of criminal responsibility, is not walking the streets.
Right.
It's not living her life in Costa Rica on a beach. Okay, you guys?
She's not going to be Casey Anthony out here with a podcast and a book.
No, she's in a mental health facility for the foreseeable future.
And she'll never walk again.
Literally, no matter what, she will never walk anywhere ever again. And that's the other thing I want to talk about real quick is this suicide attempt. Because Jen, what do you think about the fact that the prosecutor is saying that the wounds were superficial, she slid down the side of the house, and she didn't really try to kill herself?
Well, I think to the prosecutor's point, she's not a fucking idiot. So
who? Lindsay Clancy?
Yeah, Lindsay Clancy's not an idiot. I am sure she knew this. With the killing of 3 children, that an attempt at suicide that was intentionally unsuccessful wasn't going to have her walking free. So this was not, if the prosecutor's idea is that she wanted to get out of being a mother and she wanted to kill her children and then fake suicide so she could just go live her life free, that was never going to be an option. And Lindsay would not have been stupid enough to think that she was just going to walk away from that.
Okay, do you think that there's some merit there then to
No.
like the prosecutor's argument that this suicide attempt was
No, opposite.
facade?
I think that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Okay, because I was
like,
sorry.
if
For a
Lindsay
second,
is-
I was like, wait a second. Do you
Lindsay-
have a bow in your hair?
No, if you think that Lindsay is so smart, then you know
Right.
she was smart enough to know that she was never going to be walking away from this.
Right. And she didn't try to end her own life by just slitting her wrist, slitting her own throat, and going out a window. She also crushed up a bunch of pills and took them.
Yeah.
So that's not one, that's not two, that's 3 ways she attempted to end her own life.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she was in the hospital, right? Because clearly Patrick was out when this happened, okay?
Yep.
He had been out on an errand. The prosecutor called it extra long errand or something to that effect, that she sent him to a restaurant that was further than usual because she had this all planned. It was a 10 to 12 minute drive in each direction plus a stop at a pharmacy. He was gone for a total of, they're estimating, I think, between 40 and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Max.
That's not a long errand.
To me, not a long
That's
errand.
a short errand if you ask me.
Well, and we live in a city, anywhere we go is 15, 20 minutes. If I was sending Steve on a long errand, it would not be a 15-minute errand. It would be
right
half an hour in each direction.
If you were trying to make sure that you had enough time to calculate and design a murder and a suicide, you would make sure that this was an oil change where you need to go sit there for the whole day.
If I wanted to take a long shower, I wouldn't send him to a restaurant 15 minutes away.
Right.
Let me just be clear.
Like it just doesn't
it doesn't make sense. And that's what I also want everyone to pay attention to is when they're hearing the prosecutor's words of a long errand. The wounds were superficial, 3 centimeters deep, stitches.
That's long.
Like
that's deep.
That's deep. Okay. So, but they're using these words that resonate with us on like a human level, right? Of superficial and long and calculated and controlling. And when you look at what the facts are behind those words, it's actually not matching up to how this is going.
Well, you make this point all the time.
I try.
Attorneys can say whatever they want.
Yeah. Especially in family court. Family court is the worst. Your home is an unsafe environment. What does that mean? Do I let my kid watch rated R movies? Or am I locking my kid in a closet for 3 days?
Right.
Because depending on who you're talking to, a rated R movie could be an unsafe environment.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on who else you're talking to, Yeah, pretty much anybody. Locking a kid in a closet, super unsafe.
Well,
Don't do it.
if I'm emotionally abusive, but I'm not the one that's putting pornography on my child's tablet, it's all relative. And it actually doesn't matter what they're trying. What the prosecutor is attempting to do is elicit an emotional response. And that is what attorneys do. That is their job.
She's doing her job. Okay.
And you've had this argument with a lot of people that are out here saying
About
she
her
doesn't
just
get
doing
to
her
pick.
job.
She doesn't get to talk about that. So people in your comments are saying, like a comment example on a Lindsay Clancy video would be something like, the prosecutor can't decide which cases that she gets to take or not take. You don't get to say this about her. She's just doing her job.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Explain.
Okay, so I want to back up a little bit because the specific thing that I said online that really caught people's attention was that I feel like I'm watching the Salem witch trials.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm feeling like I'm watching a woman hold the Salem witch trials. And believe me, everyone's crucifying me everywhere. So if you want to leave a comment that crucifies me
Jesus.
also, literally, no, I'm a witch. Actually, not Jesus. I'm a witch. Burn me at the stake because
We are.
Because people's arguments to me in the comment section are like, except witches are never real. Have you met me? Number one. Says who?
Witch, bitch, whichever way you want to slice it.
Says who?
Still cake.
And that's basically the foundation of the witch trials is like, no woman could have ever been convicted as a witch because witches aren't real.
Yeah.
Well, when you're holding a woman responsible in front of the public for an act that she admits she's done, right? And the only issue is her mental health, I can't seem to help but draw that parallel.
Yeah.
And the way we've treated women over time hasn't changed, okay? And
Different flavors.
And as women, we treat each other this way. Because if you were convicted of adultery, you were stripped naked and walked through town. Yeah. Humiliation has been the foundation of the way women have been treated for as long as we can remember. And that was the witch trials as well, right? We're going to humiliate you if we think you are a witch. It's the origins of the term gossip, right? Women are just gossipers.
Wait,
Why?
I didn't know this.
Yeah, that gossip was demonized basically by men as being so wrong because women were communicating with each other about the way men were treating them, and they wanted it to end. And so they said, quote, gossiping was a sin.
Wow.
Yeah. And here's the hard part, right? Is that a man says something like this and then a whole group of women get behind him and be like, yeah, being a witch is bad. Gossiping isn't good. There's only one way to go about these things. If you're a mom that is having issues, I was a mom that had issues. I was a mom who had postpartum issues. I never did this. Well, good for you. Yeah. All I'm going to say is good for you. That is not the case here.
Right.
And so the prosecutor, let's get back to her. When this is what caught my attention in this trial, actually, very quickly. And I remember because me and you talked about it the next day because she was holding up that red onesie. And you're like, Jenny Lynn, you have to go and look at this. This prosecutor is up there with this bow in her hair, holding up a little child's onesie while this mom is sitting there paralyzed. Like, what the hell's going on? And what I will say is that the prosecutor in her opening statement stated that one of Lindsay's children liked to wear a bow in her hair. And what I think it's really mean to is I think it's really mean to the child who lost her mom. I think it's disrespectful to the child who's not alive. I mean, is it mean to Lindsay? Absolutely. What I think it's disrespectful to, though, is the child who loved her mother, who, by all accounts, Patrick Clancy, the nanny, everyone's up there saying she was a wonderful mother, a dedicated mother, and it feels wrong to me. And I can't put my finger on why.
Because it's a manipulative tactic to try to get an emotional reaction out of the jurors.
Okay, but Jen, how do you feel about me talking about the woman prosecutor as a woman? Because I try really hard to support women, especially women professionals, especially women just doing their job. Let me just be also clear. You can choose your job. We are not living in an era where you can't choose your job. If you're brought a case and you don't want to do that case as a prosecutor because that's against your morals, you know who they don't want you to do that case then is you. There's no way a district attorney wants an attorney up there who doesn't want to do the case because authenticity is a massive part of trial work.
Yeah.
So if you aren't authentically behind a public humiliation trial like this, they're not going to let you do that trial.
Right.
So absolutely she wanted to do this trial. Absolutely she is putting on a display here, a show that is captivating the nation. And I just don't think it's for the right reasons as a woman.
No.
But what do you think about me talking about her? Because I'm having mixed feelings about talking about her in general, if you can't tell.
Oh, I think fuck her. I literally cannot stand this woman. And we see this happen all the time. And you and I talk about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This is deeply rooted patriarchal behavior. She is giving up something.
Right.
She's clearly very smart.
Super smart woman.
You don't get into this line of work by accident.
No.
You don't pass law school by accident, except for maybe daddy and nepotism.
But she got a real job. Daddy Lee
Like a-
worked for his mom.
Yeah.
And so she actually like had to apply for that job and got it. So
that's
yeah,
crazy.
She's doing, better work than
I
Daddy.
am jealous of him.
And I didn't think I would ever say that about an attorney, actually, especially this attorney, but she's doing better work than
Well, she
Daddy.
can read. So that's one thing. Seems like she can probably follow instructions. That's another. But that's for another day. I think that as women, we need to love each other. We need to care for each other. And part of loving someone and caring for them is calling them out on shit that is absolutely wrong. If you have a friend
Mm-hmm.
that is degrading your child who wears a bikini because she doesn't think that that's something that child should wear, you should probably say something to that woman.
Yeah.
If you have a female friend that's constantly telling you that you look unhealthy and fat, someone should probably say something to them.
Yeah.
If you have a female friend that is constantly putting you down and telling you that you're stupid, someone should say something to them.
Yeah.
If we have a woman that is parading around another woman in a fucking wheelchair, and this
With a
woman
bow in her
with
hair.
a bow in her hair, and this woman that's in the wheelchair is saying, "Please don't do this. I did it. I agree. I fucking did this.
Don't do this
I needed
to me.
help. I need help.
Yeah.
Then someone needs to fucking say something about that. Somebody needs to say something to her. And what I think is really interesting, and you made a point, but the court of public opinion is a very serious thing. The court of public opinion is probably more influential than even news outlets sometimes.
And remind me, because I do want to talk about this when it comes to the prosecution and what's recently happened this week. So go ahead, keep going.
So the court of public opinion is so serious because we are watching people in throes come out and say, this happened to me. I experienced postpartum psychosis. We have people coming out and saying, I am so happy that instead of when I had postpartum psychosis, that my husband stayed with me and wouldn't allow me to be alone instead of going to brunch with the boys. When I had postpartum psychosis, that my neighbors and my mother and my husband made sure that they were taking shifts with me instead of going on a ski trip. I am so happy. And just all of these things that are going on. And so I think that there is this is such a big case that I'm sure that this DA's office has people that are checking social media and things. And I hope
If they're responsible, they are. What it is, it's a public reflection of how your jury is perceiving your facts.
right.
So
Right.
it's almost an unfair advantage is what I will say,
Mhm.
because both the prosecution and the defense, though, so the playing ground is even there, have a whole online public community filled with millions and millions of people weighing in on how their case is going,
Yeah.
which is a reflection how a jury of your peers would also be weighing in. And I do want to comment on this because, one, I think the prosecution's tone changed this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it has something to do with the public perception of how their case is going. And so I discussed a little bit about how the defense asked for the prosecution to stipulate all the facts around the killings, and they refused. Well, this week, the prosecution did agree to stipulate to a lot of facts around the chain of custody, around some of the evidence in this case, and specifically the evidence around the exercise bands, the knives, the DNA, and the blood splatter. It saved dozens of witnesses, maybe a few weeks of trial, actually, off the top. And I think that's a direct reflection of the public perception in the media and in online of how this is going, which is actually fucking crazy to me, Jen.
It's so powerful.
Because we all say, like, scream it louder for the people in the back.
Mhm.
And that's what I've been, like, saying online everywhere, is louder for the people in the back. And what's actually kind of killing me is I wish the prosecution just went on this.
Mhm.
Like, I wish they didn't have that inside
Go on,
knowledge.
keep
Like,
looking
go
like
on,
shit.
exactly. Go on and keep parading your case around that nobody is interested in because everybody is agreeing to this certain set of facts that happen. And what you're doing is clearly designed to humiliate this woman. And that's what's being shown. And they had a chance to adjust that humiliation strategy. Even if it's just by an inch, it's enough for me to be actually annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Like, no, go along with your strategy. I'm more relieved for Lindsay because I think the less time she has to sit up there, the better off her mental health eventually will be, because going through court is a whole trauma process in itself. And if you're sitting here listening, you probably know that. Just the experience of living through court is trauma in itself. And we were talking about this because postpartum psychosis, right, or postpartum depression, that hypothetically comes to a close, right? So then what? She should still be in a mental facility?
Right.
Why? Because now she has the trauma of knowing she did what she did and living with it day after day. And you will never heal from that. And
paralyzation. She'll never be able to use her body, her education. She'll never be able to use anything she ever has again.
And the trauma of sitting through this trial, sitting in front of the nation. You will never convince me this woman will ever be okay.
She will never be okay, especially considering the amount of people that are coming out testifying to what a wonderful mother she is.
Well,
that kind of a person, the nanny just today at the time of recording, her ex-husband, Patrick Clancy, all of these people, you as a wonderful mother will never recover from that ever.
Well,
ever.
Her defense attorney, Kevin Reddington, said in his opening argument that Lindsay wanted to die when she did what she did to those children, and sitting here today, she still wants to die. And the psychiatrist in the hospital also was called to the stand for the state's case, which, like I said, all we're seeing at this point is the state's case. And she testified that Lindsay wanted to change her medical proxy from Patrick to her parents, and that she also wanted to put a DNR in place. Do not resuscitate. I don't want to live. The hospital denied that request.
I mean, I guess if you're in a state of mental duress, then you can't make that choice. Is that what their argument was?
The conclusion by the hospital it was a board decision is what was said, and that it was because of her suicide attempt, not because of her current mental state, because the psychiatrist found her truthful and she found her lucid, but they made that decision based on her recent suicide attempt.
I don't think anybody gets to do that. So I'm also a person that has the beliefs in opposition of that to begin with. I think everybody has the right to do what they choose with their body, but that's for another conversation. That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? So you insist on keeping someone alive, right? You insist on not granting them the right to not even choose if something happens to their body, to not have medical intervention to save them. And then you sit them up for a 6-week trial of humiliation as their punishment. There's so many layers to this trial that just as a woman hits me so hard and doesn't sit well with me. And the simplest solution is always the right solution, was this is just a woman who needed help that didn't get it. And they shouldn't be doing this. That's as easy as that for me.
The simplest thing to me is that she said she agreed. So why are we talking about it?
Right. Why are we talking about the facts around the killings? Why are we talking about?
Well, if she is found guilty, period, and not with the insanity, which in Massachusetts is called not guilty by lack of criminal responsibility, is the death penalty on the table. Is that what they're going for?
I don't think the death penalty is on the table.
Yeah, and that's what I'm like. That's the only.
But let me confirm that real quick,
because we haven't talked about that yet.
Heard that.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, what's the path here?
I think what they're doing is they're letting every single woman in America know that if you do something like this is going to be your punishment. You don't actually get to get the mental help you need. And I've heard this in my comment section. This is the point, that this is the witch trials. This is the public stripping for adultery. This is the same thing to me. This is a message to every single woman out there in America. And this is what family court is doing too. Is they're telling woman after woman who walks in, if you walk into a family court, you might lose your kid. And not even might. If you make an allegation of abuse, you're more likely to walk out with less custody than you walked in with. Don't even come in here with your allegation of abuse or talking to me about your kids, because if you do, I will punish you. The court will punish you. They'll teach you a lesson. And And it is
very expensive.
a very heartbreaking lesson. And it is kind of the point of everything we're doing is like, I want women to know this is what happens in family court. Do I hope for family court reform? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yep.
Do I think, especially after hearing the public's reaction to this trial, that we are farther from that than I originally had thought? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what they're saying, though, about the Karen Reed case.
I know. And that's
is that they
crazy,
lost
too.
the Karen Reed case. They put all that money and all that public display.
So much
And this is
money.
Massachusetts trying to basically say, we get this right. That even if they didn't agree with us on Karen Reed, we're going to get this right now. And they're willing to throw millions and millions and millions of dollars
And that's what
at
I'm
it.
saying. If we could have reduced the amount of expert witnesses and expert testimony, that is not cheap.
No.
The amount of time, the time of the court, the time of the reporters, like every little thing costs money because she's saying, hey, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how anybody is okay with that. I would rather give her a microphone and let her say, hey, everybody, yes, I killed my kids. Please kill me.
Because they'd rather show other women that
Yeah,
this is what
right.
happens if you do something wrong.
Right.
And you'll never convince me otherwise. It's a trial in public humiliation.
It is absolutely. And
Yeah.
with Karen Reed and all of the allegations of it being collusion and
Mhm.
everything, they're really trying to make a statement here. Like we
Oh,
don't do that.
absolutely.
All of our systems are wrought with accuracy and we do everything by the book and correctly. And now we've got a fucking prosecutor
And
putting a giant
you
bow
were
in her
pointing
hair.
it out to me that in the Karen Reed trial, so in the Lindsay Clancy trial, there's an argument being made around that her, and I don't want to get too far off into this like deep conspiracy world because there is a big,
Not that deep, but yeah.
but yeah, it actually
It is
is
a
right
conspiracy.
under the surface. But what I will say is that somebody came at me in the comment section, even alluding to the fact that we don't know if Patrick Clancy had an affair or not. And they thought I was completely off base. For
You've never
even,
said that.
Well, I said it on the podcast.
Well, you said you don't know what's happened in those four walls.
Oh, and
that
this woman-
he may have had an affair. We don't know.
This woman was furious at me.
Yeah.
She thought I was completely off base. And she commented that on Kate Casey's comment section.
Yeah.
She tagged me in it. I think at Parenting Plans with Jen is completely off base, even giving an ounce of light to the fact that Patrick had an affair. And if you listen to the episode with Kate Casey, what I say, because I went back and listened to it again, as it was actually very light.
It was.
It was, she asked me a specific question about the defense attorney bringing up the fact that Patrick Clancy moved on very quickly and what my thoughts and opinions were
Yep.
on it. And that's what I commented on. I thought it spoke to the fact that we didn't know what was happening in those four walls and that we never will. And that there's clearly a lot of online discourse going on, that maybe he was having an affair, maybe he wasn't. I said, we will never know. But the online comment section is going way further than I even brushed on. And that me even pointing out the fact that he could have been having an affair was crossing a line as we're watching a paralyzed woman stand trial for a crime she admits she committed.
Yep.
The only thing she's saying is I didn't have the mental capacity. But me even alluding to the fact that we'll never know if Patrick Clancy had an affair was, and I quote, she said, cruel.
And it's a potential.
Yes, it's a potential. Whether it's a potential or not,
Irrelevant.
equating my comment
Mhm.
about a man and his extramarital affair to cruelness while we're watching a woman stand trial does not compute to me. And this was from another woman.
Yeah.
Like,
Good
hold me
surprise.
accountable. I'm going to call you fat. Fucking tell me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Hold me accountable all day long. And I think this is like the hard part I'm struggling with on this case is because I'm having so many people telling me that I'm just a narcissistic white woman protecting another white woman who's super privileged in the system, that I should need to get off my horse. Oh, you should hear. Someone told me that I had
Privilege in a wheelchair.
mosquito bite titties.
Mosquito bite titties, not alive.
That one made me laugh.
Mosquito bite titties, not alive.
Yeah, that my parents must be cousins.
No, they said, are your parents brother and sister or are they just cousins?
Legitimate question. They said neither. What were some of the other?
Fix your teeth you got last night.
Someone's big.
Smile.
I had braces for 4 years, and I did notice that when I'm filming from above, you can kind of see my bottom teeth when I talk more than I would like, and they are not perfectly straight. But yes, someone told me, go fix your teeth. Actually, I'll go fund me right now. Pay for me to fix my teeth. I'm out here hustling my Substack, people.
I just really
Like-
like the mosquito bite.
Mosquito bite titties.
I
Also, not a lie.
But also, if you are listening to an intellectual conversation about something that's going on and your only response is you got some mosquito bite
Okay,
titties,
to the commenters' defense, I was not having an intellectual conversation.
case in point.
I was literally telling people that if they were coming at me for
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote defending a baby killer, that I think that they should put down their keyboard and go hold a baby. That they should go down to their neighbor's house who they saw walking a newborn in a stroller and go bring them a meal. That they should go to their cousin's house to make sure that she had a shower. They should go find some random person that they ran into in the grocery store with a newborn and go offer to clean their house.
Make sure that your people
Show up.
in your community are okay.
Show up.
Because if you're really mad that she killed her
Yep.
3 kids, you need to make sure that you're stopping everybody else from killing them.
That's 100% my point. Is that like you can absolutely think that my opinion about this is wrong. Then you know what? I hope if you think what I'm saying about a woman's mental health and her being subject to this kind of humiliation is wrong, I hope you're putting your money where your mouth is and holding babies 24/7. I hope you're volunteering in the NICU. I hope you're going to domestic violence women's shelters. I hope you're showing up at homeless shelters or shelters for the unhoused. I hope you're walking down the street to your neighbor's house every single day for the first year they have a newborn baby and cleaning, cooking, and holding that baby for at least an hour or 2. That's what I hope you're doing instead of going in my comment section and saying what you think what I'm doing is wrong. Go ahead, think what I'm doing is wrong.
Or commenting about your mosquito bite titties.
Mosquito bite titties, not alive.
Or my cricket teeth.
Mosquito
Go
bite
show it for someone else.
titties,
Get out of my
cousin
comment
not
section.
alive.
Just
I'm
talking.
gonna make a song.
Oh, it's gonna be
Not alive. Mosquito bite titties, not alive.
Stop feeding a baby with them.
Oh my God! Someone else actually said that they hope I don't have children because my baby would starve with those titties.
Yeah, they did.
If you're not on our YouTube, this is all the motivation in the world to go find our YouTube. So you can take a first-hand look at
My mosquito bite titties. That's so funny. I forgot about that one.
That was a good one.
I wish we knew their name.
I was just like, you know what? Valid.
Touche.
I was like, thanks for checking in though.
Yeah.
My kids seem good, but
Yeah.
are you taking care for kids?
Wow.
Wow, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
It's like twisted hats.
Okay, so overall, Jen, your thoughts on how the Lindsay Clancy trial is going?
I would bone Kevin Reddington.
Oh,
say that on here?
right?
It's our podcast. I can say whatever I want.
Never loved a white man so much in my
The way
entire
he's
life.
holding her hand.
Sorry, Steve. Oh, the way he carries himself in that courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
I've said it and I'll keep saying it's a masterclass in criminal defense.
But you can also tell Kevin Reddington actually gives a shit. And a lot of the comments that I see about him are he must have firsthand experience with a woman in his life having dealt with some kind of situation in postpartum.
You don't get to where he is
Mm-mm.
in life, in trial work, and in his profession without not giving a fuck about this system
Yeah.
and protecting women and people in this system. He genuinely cares. As the prosecutor, genuinely wants to see Lindsay Clancy rot in jail.
Yeah. So from an outsider's perspective,
Yep.
Without a law degree, I think that Kevin Reddington, his lack of vocalization and lack of response to everything is serving a purpose.
You saw that in my video too, bitch.
I paid for it on Substack. Okay. I'm going to hang on to
Yeah,
every
the
word.
way he's using silence.
Because I'm not good at that. I've never been silent a day in my life. And so when I
Someone else told me that too.
Yeah.
You talk too much in my comments.
Welcome to social media. Did you want me to just record a video of me in my
You know what I
mosquito
said?
bite titties?
You're not the first person to tell me that.
Won't be the last.
Agreed.
Yeah. I just can't shut the fuck up. It's a problem.
Right?
Actually, when people like you and I are quiet for some period of time, everyone thinks something is wrong.
Oh, it's actually an issue if I'm having like a more quiet
Yeah.
moment, day,
It hurt people's
season.
feelings.
Yeah, it's been an issue for me.
Yeah, me too. So I just choose never to shut up.
So I'm just doing the Lord's work out here, just
Yeah.
talking my ass
Make
off
sure
to
you
anyone
know
who
we
will
love
listen.
or hate you all at the same time. No, but it is an interesting thing to follow. I'm also following like the Nolan Wells case
Yep.
very closely.
Yep.
And I was following the Karen Reed appeal very closely.
Yep.
So these things are interesting to me. The sad part is that this is a mother that I do believe was a wonderful mother that now doesn't have her children. I do believe
Yeah.
that it doesn't matter the outcome of this
Yeah.
case. No one's ever going to be okay again.
Yeah.
Not Kevin Reddington, not Lindsay
No.
Clancy, not Patrick Clancy, not
No.
his new wife, not his new children. Nobody, regardless of the stake that they have in this, is ever going to be okay again. No
Yeah.
one. Not a single one of those jurors is not going to spend the rest of their life thinking about this every single day. And that is something I've seen online a lot about the mental health of jurors, is that not only are we going through re-traumatization of both Lindsay and Patrick, but also the traumatization that we are placing on these jurors when we didn't have to, when they would have just agreed to stipulate to the fact that she killed the kids. These people didn't need to go through that.
But I also think, yes, Patrick Clancy is probably traumatized. I would hope he's traumatized.
Yeah.
He has a huge financial stake in the outcome of this.
Oh, absolutely.
He is looking at a multi-million-dollar lawsuit with some
Easily.
very deep pockets that I'm guessing he's going to walk away with a lot of money and a new wife and a new baby. And as you said, Jen, Lindsay will never walk anywhere, no matter where that is, ever again, without a child and without her family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to me.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
Really
this
quick.
week- oh,
Jenny Lynn is wearing this shirt. I
Oh.
have a couple too. I am not wearing them today because I didn't get the memo
oh, and when I wore this shirt today, I filmed this video.
on Substack. No. you
Well, I
won't.
will. I'll do a breakdown on Substack too
Yeah.
about Representative Max Miller in Ohio and his ex-father-in-law,
Mhm.
Senator Bernie Moreno. And there's a massive family law battle happening
Mhm.
between Senator Bernie Moreno's daughter and her ex-husband, where this representative, Max Miller, in an effort to defend himself over abuse allegations, not only to his ex-wife, but also his 2-year-old child, publicly posted a Dropbox with a completely nude picture of his 2-year-old contained. Had over 200,000 views by the time they took it down. He's a sitting representative from the state of Ohio, and he's up for re-election. So careful where you cast your vote.
If you are currently located in Ohio, please make sure to be talking about this and sharing
Yep.
this, because it is so important that we vote in reality.
Yeah.
It is so important that your vote is an educated one, regardless of what you believe. We can disagree on that, but you should still make sure that you know the facts and not just vote for causes.
Well, and I was thankful because the senator came out and is really, really going hard for his daughter. And,
yeah.
and
the dad.
talking about how family court is just obliterating this case, and that the representative should step down. And when I first heard the senator speaking about this, I had to take a deep breath, because I wish every woman got that kind of support publicly in family court.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening to them is the tip of the iceberg in family court. We, Jen, you and I, and all of our listeners know how family court goes. And yes, what this representative did was horrible. Also, we're
In
seeing
all
custody
counts.
being handed to men like this, and men who do far worse.
Yeah.
Over and over. So, okay, what were you going to say about my shirt?
So Jenny Lynn was wearing the shirt today that we got from Overruled Apparel, and we have a discount code for all of our listeners. They have a lot of really funny sayings on t-shirts about family law. This one says "Mo motions, mo money," and lots of other really silly, funny things. And so that discount code for all of our listeners is HCHP10. We'll get you 10% off of your orders at overruledapparel.com. You can go find them on TikTok too. It's pretty funny. We got some more shirts we'll be wearing in the future.
I love it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Jen bought this for me as a present too.
Yeah. I've been getting shirts is my thing right now. I'm
I
getting
love
people
it.
shirts.
I love it because she bought me another one that said, "I have been nothing but sexy and funny to you all." And it's actually more applicable here because
Because we're funnier over here.
way funnier.
But so I was over here yesterday with Jenny Lynn, and anytime somebody said something to her that I didn't like their tone as a joke, I'm like,
In my
"She's
house.
been nothing but sexy and funny to you all."
In my house, you guys,
Yeah.
this is not on the street. She's
I will do
yelling at
that.
everyone in my house.
I will yell at everybody on the street. Daddy, write that down.
Okay, so let's do a real quick.
Okay.
What's not the worst thing that happened to you this week?
Not the worst thing that happened to me this week is another mind fuck. It's just that my ex-husband is been the nicest person in the world to me again. It's almost like we're back to how we used to operate when we say please and thank you to one another when we want something or need something, or when we have schedule changes or something we can do with the kids and we just ask and the other person says, "That sounds great.
Yeah.
Done." And it being not the worst thing that happened to me this week sounds silly, but I'm also still having to read through these court documents because there's still more work that has to be done. And I'm looking at 0.191 parenting time and decision-making limitations that they were trying to impose on me. At the same time, That you're just telling me.
Yeah, they put that in an interrogatory you
Yeah.
found,
Mhm.
right? So they haven't said that to the court yet
No.
in Jen's personal family law case, but they said it in an interrogatory that they think that she should be subject to some limitations on her parenting time, which does not comport with her entire case because
Right.
they're only asking for a minor modification.
Mhm.
And that minor modification in the state of Washington is 24 days or less.
Yeah.
So the fact that you noticed that today is indicative of maybe how this is going to go.
Yeah.
And it makes me nervous.
She's putting in all these little cookies for me
Yeah.
to find every once in a while.
And I just want to say for our listener real quick, Jen's ex-husband also had some pornography starring himself appear on their 13-year-old's iPad, an iPad that he gave to her, that he had the controls over to her. CPS was involved. There's now a restraining order in place put forth by his employer. These family law issues are real. And at the same time, her 2 younger kids are now there for 2 weeks because that's what the court order says.
Mm-hmm.
So
it says 3. But
he only took 2.
Yeah. What about you? What's not the worst thing that happened to you this week?
So not the worst thing that's happened to me was being called mosquito titties, crooked teeth. My
funny.
children are probably starved with these little babies that are starring the show. Who knew my tits would get so much attention online? Never in my wildest dreams. This is bizarro world. This whole time, I thought everyone would be talking about your tits.
Nope. Someone is.
Oh,
Kidding.
you guys. We're not going to talk about this now, but Jen has officially moved on.
I have. Oh my God. All of our listeners.
Especially Steve will be so happy. Off of ex-boyfriend. He's no longer in the picture completely. It's been a little bit now. And there's a new person
Yeah.
floating around the scene.
Even hot and heavy.
So we'll talk about that.
We're going to have a gender reveal party.
Yeah, soon. But that's not the worst thing that's happened to me. Is definitely reading all those comments was a little bit like, it's kind of funny, but it's also, it stings more than a mosquito bite would sting.
I think a little bit.
But my week in hell was there was a attorney in my comment section that really got under my skin, and he didn't have the facts of the case right, and he was putting out some facts that were really not accurate and kind of getting some traction, and so I really wanted to correct it and not delete it, and he was really pissed off at me. And it got under my skin, and I'm going to try and make more of an effort moving forward not to let stuff get under my skin. And I think the only way to do that is to take as much Lexapro as Jen's taking Zoloft.
I love Zoloft. Yes, I do.
So,
Perfect.
yeah, I'm working on that. Yeah. How about you? Do you have a week in hell, real quick?
I don't. My week has been so good.
That's because love is in the air.
Love is in the air. It's very funny, and it's different. I am going to have to also make a public apology to my ex-husband in an upcoming episode. So we'll
okay.
see how that
Yeah.
goes.
I like the direction this is going though. Okay.
We'll see. Come back in 2 episodes when I'm absolutely heartbroken over this and Steve gets to be
We'll-
upset about me
we'll-
not moving on for another 8 months.
We'll hold your hand through this breakup too, guys. Don't
Yeah,
worry. We're all here for the ride.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, everyone. If you could follow our podcast, if you're new here, we'd really appreciate it. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, if you could hit that follow button. As you've noticed, we don't have advertisements in our podcast, but that really helps us to keep doing what we're doing, which is talking shit and flashing
For free.
boobies. All right.
See you over the fence.
See you over the fence. Bye.
Bye.
Mosquito bite titties, not a lie. 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 Mosquito